Welcome to the NBA's recipe for a championship. For your base ingredient, you need 7-foot centers of incredible skill. Houston boasts last year's MVP, Hakeem Olajuwon, while San Antonio counters with this year's MVP, David Robinson. In a pinch, you want a point guard who can shake and bake. Avery Johnson is San Antonio's catalyst, while Kenny Smith jumpstarts the rocket break. Add a dash of spice on the court. Sean Elliott has raised his game to new heights, while Clyde Drexler has Houston simmering. Mix in some Rodman, but do not let boil. Will Dennis prove a help or hindrance tonight? Take it off the grill. A Texas barbecue next on TNT.
Round one in the Western Conference heavyweight division goes to the man in the red trunks, Hakeem Olajuwon, outplaying this year's most valuable player, David Robinson. Olajuwon here, passing to Robert Horry. His only field goal of the night is the game winner, and Houston comes into the Alamo Dome to steal game one, 94-93, and go up 1-0. But don't relax yet, Houston. The Admiral has his game face on. Stay with us, we'll pump you up. Along with Doug Collins, this is Bob Neal from the Alamo Dome. Game 2 Western Conference Finals, Houston and San Antonio. And the San Antonio Spurs, the best record in the NBA in the regular season. They've won 69 games, lost 23 in the counting the playoffs. And this is a team that most feel will be in the final round. But Houston has something to say about it. And you got to think that San Antonio has to be kicking themselves. They had every chance to win game one.
You know, a little bit like game one of the New York-Indiana series, where you look like San Antonio had things in hand. Tempo of the game defensively was right where they wanted it. The Rockets at 94, 95 points. They forced the Rockets to shoot 42% from the field, Bob, but the free throw line really did them in. Took 18 more free throws, missed 7 in the fourth quarter, which was very, very costly. But David Robinson, a very subpar game for the MVP, 5 for 17, 7 turnovers. He was out of sync. He was trying to do things too quickly. Look for him to bounce back tonight and have a great game.
And speaking of MVP, last year's MVP, Hakeem Olajuwon, the heart and soul, and I use the term advisedly, of a real warrior and leader leading this Houston team. You
know, I have become such an Olajuwon fan over the last couple years, watching him in this playoffs. He's at such peace, and I think that translates to his team. Their philosophy is almost like, we'll find a way if you let us stick around, and they've done that all playoffs long. And the addition of Clyde Drexler is now giving them 2 stars inside and outside. Look what they've done in the playoffs, 49% of their points, the rebounds, the assists, the blocks. But more importantly, what Drexler's done is he's allowed Olajuwon to rest a little bit on the offensive end of the floor so that everything doesn't have to go through him on every possession.
Now, all these great players we're talking about, the man who's getting the cover of Sports Illustrated is Dennis Rodman, and he got a lot of coverage on our air for what he did and his non-involvement in the huddles and his attitude and his hair in game number 1. The league and the San Antonio Spurs would like this all to kind of go away, but he's the league's leading rebounder.
Yeah, it's not going to go away. As long as he's putting up 20 rebounds, he's going to be a focus of so much attention. And, you know, Bob, we covered the game the other night. We saw the end of the game. They said this is nothing new. It's been all season long. But let's face it, it was a critical mistake the other night at the end of the ball game. Dennis Rodman was not happy about the last few moments, and they're just going to have to play through it because he is not going to go away.
Speaking of going away, another man that's not going away, and a person you don't expect to have another subpar game, is the 1994-95 most valuable player, and he'll get that trophy when we return to the Alamo Dome with the Admiral. An expanded sellout crowd at the Alamo Dome, 35,888. You're going to hear them cheer big in just a moment, because we're going to have the presentation of the most valuable trophy award to David Robinson. Here's PA announcer Stan Kelly.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please direct your attention to center court where NBA Commissioner David Stern will present the 1995 NBA Most Valuable Player of the Year award.
What a career. NBA Rookie of the Year, All-NBA, Defensive Player of the Year, 6-time All-Star. Last year, he led the league in scoring, and this year he led the San Antonio Spurs to their best record in franchise history and the best record in the league. I'm greatly honored to be here because David Robinson represents for us the commitment to team, to principle, and to community that we in the NBA find emblematic of what our players strive to be. And tonight, he joins the other MVPs headed to the Hall of Fame. Ask Moses Malone. Congratulations, David Robinson, 1995 NBA MVP.
I can't say how thrilled I am to receive this award. It's just a combination of so many people's efforts, and I want to thank my coaches, thank my teammates. I want to thank you fans. You've been wonderful. I want to thank my wife, Valerie, and my family for the support they've given me, and most of all, I want to thank my Lord Jesus Christ. He's given me an opportunity to bless us.
Doug Collins back with you at the Alamo Dome. Nearly 36,000 just prior to Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. And our courtside reporter, Kevin Kiley, is with us.
Thank you so much, Bob. Injury report, Robert Horry for Houston, a stiff neck. Carl Herrera out for the season. He has a shoulder problem. Of course, Vernon Maxwell, by mutual decision, he will not be with Houston for the playoffs. It occurred to me watching David Robinson receive the MVP award that it was perfect timing. I talked with David immediately after Game 1 in the locker room. He was down, dejected, had a poor game. The spotlight, of course, had fallen on Dennis Rodman and his negative antics. This was a team that needed something good to happen. Yesterday it happened as they gave the 95 award to David Robinson. Today he's a different person, energized and ready to go in Game 2. Back to you, Bob.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Let's have a look at the starting lineups, and the matchups are really key in this series, Doug.
Well, Bob, one of the matchups that really hurt the San Antonio Spurs was Vinny Del Negro and Drexler. The size matchup, the post-ups. Look tonight for Rodman to possibly play Drexler and maybe even Sean Elliott, so they don't have to double-team the post, make Drexler score more from the perimeter, and take away one of the guys that you have to double-team to free up that three-point shooting of the Houston Rockets.
The coaches of these two outstanding Western Conference teams, Rudy Tomjanovich, 25 years with the Houston Rockets as a player, assistant, and now head coach, and last year led the team in only his third year as a head coach to the World Championship. And Bob Hill, who's done an outstanding job taking over this very talented but very fragile and difficult San Antonio Spurs team to lead them to the best record in the NBA as of right now, counting playoffs. They are 69-23. So back-to-back MVPs will jump in at center. Dennis Rodman with a new hair color. Clyde with no hair. Joe Crawford, Ronnie Nunn, and Jack Neese are our officials. And the tip between the two MVPs, David Robinson and Hakeem Olajuwon, goes to the Spurs and Avery Johnson.
San Antonio now, Bob, wants to quicken the tempo. They want to get the game in the hundreds.
Inside to Robinson. Missed the lay-in, stripped by Hakeem Olajuwon. Houston with 4 on 2. Rockets count the basket, and Drexler will go to the free throw line.
The Rockets are a different team with Clyde Drexler. They're an open floor team. When you look out, Pete Chilcutt, their starting power forward, is going to be a guy that spots up and shoot threes. You've got Ori, you've got Smith, the speed and quickness of Drexler, and then the all-around greatness of Olajuwon. They're going to push the ball up the floor, but every time the play stops, it forces San Antonio to take the ball out of the basket. They cannot get in that running game that they'd like to get into.
Del Negro passing to Avery Johnson. Del Negro picked up the foul on that play. Avery Johnson driving and scoring. They want him to penetrate, as you pointed out, Doug, 14, 15 times out in the open floor if he can in this game.
That's what San Antonio wants. Houston wants him shooting jump shots. They do not want him getting all the way to the front of the rim. Creates too many problems.
In the regular season, San Antonio beat Houston 5 out of 6 times. Now they have Chilcutt on a mismatch with Avery Johnson, leaving Kenny Smith open for the 3. Rebound, Sean Elliott.
You see Avery Johnson that time guarding Pete Chilcutt. They had Sean Elliott matched up against Drexler.
Sean Elliott had a good game the other night, but everybody remembers him missing the 2 free throws with about half a minute left. And speaking of game 1, this is what happened on Monday night. The Rockets got the win 94-93. The free throws, San Antonio, Elliott was not the only one missing them, 7 of 14 in the fourth quarter. And the Houston bench, led by Mario Elie, came out and outplayed San Antonio.
And Olajuwon and Drexler combined for 52 of the 95 points. They shoot 22 for 45. The rest of the team 14 for 40. That was their impact on game 1. They came in and stole the home court advantage.
Dennis Rodman with his first rebound of the game. He had 20 in game number 1. Del Negro almost loses it. Johnson with the penetration. Chilcutt loses it to Dennis Rodman. He's going to take a 3. Oh, that would have brought the house down. Houston 3-2. Ori can't handle it, and Vinny Del Negro on the lead. Avery Johnson is limping, and they've held up play at the other end. No, they didn't, and they're going to get a foul on Kenny Smith. The play was never held up, even though Avery Johnson had to stop.
Bobby looked like he rolled an ankle. I don't know, they're attending to him right now, but a loose ball as he made the little jump hook in the lane. I don't know if he came down awkwardly, but he fell in the lane and could not get back defensively. Let's see if he rolled over his ankle. As he goes in, he pulls up, he shoots a little jump hook. Right there, he came down on Pete Chilcutt's foot and rolled his ankle over. This would be a big loss if they did not get Avery Johnson back.
Foul prior to the penetration. It's on Olajuwon. That's his first as they attend to Avery Johnson. And when play was stopped there, the foul was called on Kenny Smith of the Houston Rockets. So now new shot clock. Just under 10 minutes to go in the first quarter. Rockets up by 1, 3-2. Robinson was 5 of 17 shooting in game number 1 and opens up here by missing his first 2 shots. The Spurs are 1 for 6. The dream to Robert Ori. That's the spot where he hit the game winner. Doesn't get the 3, and Del Negro with another rebound. Robinson with a turnover. He had 7 in game number 1.
You know, anytime I've ever seen an award presented, the guy who gets the award or whatever gets so emotionally involved in the game. A lot of times he's out of sync. David's got to calm down. You're going too quickly, a lot like he did in game 1.
Fadeaway jumper from Drexler. Rebound Robinson.
You see the size of Elliott did not let him get into the lane. He forced a fadeaway jump shot.
Doc Rivers in for Avery Johnson, has it blocked by Drexler. Oh, what a job he's done since coming to Houston in the trade for Otis Thorpe. Houston's rebounding overall even got a little better.
Yeah, well, you know, they've talked so much about the rebounding, but last year the Rockets were the worst offensive rebounding team in the NBA, so this is nothing new. They just got to clean up the defensive board.
Another steal. Doc Rivers takes it from Pete Chilcutt.
You can see the matchups early. They're putting the point guard, Doc Rivers, on Chilcutt, forcing him to go into the post, letting Elliott play Drexler.
Pick and roll, Del Negro and Robinson. Robinson covered. Del Negro misses the turnarounder from only 10 feet. Drexler with another rebound. Ori out to Kenny Smith.
This is where they'll want to use clock. Don't let San Antonio get an up-and-down game. Get the ball into Olajuwon. Force the double team. Maybe shoot the three-point shot or go to a late screen roll. Here's the post-up. No double team this time.
5 to shoot. 4, 3. With 1 second left, Olajuwon with the air ball, and that'll be a violation. And Avery Johnson apparently is okay after rolling over his ankle. He'll come in to run this team from the point guard spot for San Antonio, and Doc Rivers will take a seat.
You know, Bob, one of the things we need to point out here for the fans, too, is David Robinson, when he isolates out on the floor, when he uses his right foot as a pivot foot, he can attack the defender. When he gets his left foot, he ends up shooting a jump shot, so we'll have to watch that as the night goes on.
Rodman open underneath, the bounce pass. And that's the Spurs' second field goal out of 9 attempts. Houston only 1 of 6. It's 4-3 San Antonio, and 2 minutes and 20 seconds have been played in quarter number 1. Drexler goes down, 5 on the shot clock. Ori doesn't get the 3, kept alive by Robinson into the hands of Johnson.
Avery still looks like he's a little gimpy on that ankle. Looks like he's dragging it.
Sean Elliott with a nice drive, got past Drexler, but the dream was there. Elliott with the loose ball. They'll start it over again. Shot clock still running. 7 seconds. 5, 4. Rodman missing from the corner. Those are 2 long shots by Dennis Rodman. You never see him take those kind of shots. Kenny Smith lobs it to Robert Ori, and it's a 1-point Rockets lead.
You know, Rodman said something to the Houston bench as he took that shot, and Sam Cassell fell off the bench laughing. I don't know what he said, but after he took that shot, I watched Cassell. He fell right off the bench.
He's showbiz. We're talking about number 10, of course. You want showbiz, you get it from Rodman. Illegal defense called by Ronnie Nunn.
Watch Olajuwon come over. Now you say the ball was off the glass. Why was that not goaltending? Because the ball was still on its way up, so it was below the rim. And then the Rockets take advantage in the open floor. Robert Ori with a great alley-oop. Well, a lot of action, Bob, but not many points right now. 5-4. Going to show you something here. The ball's going to go in the post to Olajuwon, but anytime they fill this corner and they allow this defensive man to be on this side of the floor, and you have the other offensive player here, Olajuwon is now allowed to make that little spin move of his because the passer's man just drops right back into his lap. Watch this now. Finally, Ori will clear. As we stop it right here, you look at the shot clock, there's about 3 seconds, and Olajuwon ends up taking a shot to beat the clock. So they've got to clear that area out so Olajuwon has some room to work in his best spot. That's that baseline spin.
6:36 to go in the first quarter, only 5-4. Both teams not shooting very well, both with only 2 field goals.
Mario Ellie into the ball game now. He'll be matched up against Elliott. They like that matchup defensively.
Avery Johnson got in trouble underneath, tried to get it to Robinson, put it on the floor, and the ball's loose. Captured by Akeem Olajuwon. Ellie out to Drexler.
Ori's got to make some jump shots tonight. He was only 1 for 4 the other night, but they're going to give him some outside shots. He's going to have to bury them because they're really going to play off of him and help off on Drexler and Akeem.
Kevin Kiley?
If you're wondering about Avery Johnson, he didn't know whether he was hurt or not. Walking up and down the sidelines, he wasn't sure. He got his ankle taped in the timeout, and he's ready to go. During the break, Bob Hill said, be more aggressive offensively, get the ball around to the other side of the floor.
And take a 16-foot jump shot, but make sure it goes in, which it didn't. Rebound Ori.
That's the shot that Avery Johnson will be there, and he's going to have to make it tonight for them to be successful.
Ellie.
Boy, that's been a guy
knocks
who's been
down
on
the
fire.
3. And Mario Ellie, you know, you wonder, Mario Ellie in the playoffs is 16 of 40. That's right above 40%. Rodman with his second field goal. Dennis had only 4 points in game 1, was 1 for 7, and now he has 2 field goals already here tonight. He's 2 for 4.
Olajuwon wanting the ball. Now the corner is cleared. He can make that move. He makes that spin, and that shot will be there for him.
Elliott stripped it. 8 on the shot clock. Kenny Smith from the baseline. Loose ball ends up in the hands of, no surprise, Dennis Rodman.
They want to run, though. They want to get out and push. Let Avery Johnson do this right here.
Whoa! Fake right, go left, and then come back to the left side. Avery Johnson, the 5'11" water bug.
That's when he's at his best. When he has to shoot jump shots off screen roll, you play to the weakness of his game.
Elijah Wan missing the jumper. 4 rebounds for Rodman. Robinson on the run. Look at this. That's a 7-footer. He's fouled. Tied at 8, 4:37 to go in the first quarter. Drexler with the foul.
Open floor opportunities. Your defensive rebound, you get the ball out, and Avery Johnson, lightning quick, slashes between 2 players, and the beautiful finish with the left hand takes it to the other side, uses the rim to defend against the block shot.
The left-hander, I like the fact that he's faked left.
Absolutely, and he is so quick, and what he's been able to do now, Bob, he's been able to set you up going left and give you that hard crossover to come back right, and then in the air, jump back to his left. He has really established himself as one of the up-and-coming lightning quick point guards. If you get him in the open court, he can really play.
Chuck Person checks in now. He's been struggling through these playoffs. The rifleman, he's only shooting 35% for San Antonio. They hope to get some perimeter scoring out of Person. 6-0 run now by the Spurs to take the 2-point lead. Kenny Smith knocks down the 3.
That's such a weapon in their arsenal. When you look playoffs, Bob, the amount of three-point shots, they've made 39 more in 13 games and have taken 74 more, shooting almost 41% from 3.
They live and die by it. They often live, most often. Here's Kenny Smith with the 3.
And without Vernon Maxwell, I really believe that Kenny Smith's confidence has grown because he's getting more minutes right now. He and Cassell really are splitting that time. Ellie's coming off the bench. They have a set rotation, playing much better basketball.
Robinson misses the jumper. Elijah Wan with the rebound. Sam Cassell into the ballgame. Speaking of Sam Cassell, lightning quick himself on the drive. He's fouled by David Robinson. That's his first.
Let's see if we can see David Robinson's pivot, but we stop right there. If his left foot is free, right here, if his left foot is free, that's when he's usually at his best. But he settles for the outside jump shot and is not looking to attack the basket. That was a very tentative play by David Robinson. He has not been able to get off the mark tonight. He's struggling to get going at 0 for 6. So 5 for 23 right now in this series. I think he's too pumped up right now.
Cassell knocks down the free throws. It's Rockets 12-10. 3:54 to go in the first quarter. Dennis Rodman to Robinson. Dennis Robinson down on the low block after the penetration dribble by Dennis Rodman, who's come out here playing much more offense than normal. Elijah Wan steps over the fallen admiral and lays it in off the fingertips. It's a 2-point Rockets game.
You can see a little of the strategy. The Rockets are trapping Avery Johnson as he comes across half court, forcing him to give the ball up to Rodman. So Rodman's in a position to create as Chuck Person hits a much-needed field goal for his confidence.
Off the excellent pick from David Robinson. Now Elijah Wan spinning inside, draws 3. He's fouled by Avery Johnson.
David Robinson, this was his most explosive move of the night. A little bit of the Akeem Olajuwon spin and finish. And Olajuwon goes to the basket. Robinson falls to take the charge. It was a no call, and Olajuwon lays the ball over the front of the rim.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, 3 ties, 2 lead changes already with 3 to go in the first quarter.
Well, when you have a great post player, you're going to get double teams. You're going to see the double team, and look at the spacing behind the 3-point line. The ball will come out of the double team, and we'll stop it right here with the extra pass. Chuck Person is going to try to come all the way across the floor. There's no way he can get there. So the extra pass out of the double team, the 3-point shooting, this is what the Rockets count on every night. They might miss 6, 7 in a row, but they're going to keep taking it because it will present itself because of their offense.
Here's the battle of the most valuable players. Elijah won last year, Robinson this year. Early on, both struggling, 1 of 5 from the floor. Both have 2 rebounds, but you know by the end of the game, unless something very unusual happens, they'll both have at least in the middle 20s with points and somewhere around 10 to 15 rebounds.
Sam Cassell off the bench right now. He's a guy that can give them big points and get hot in a hurry.
Horry defended by Robinson, so they've got a mismatch with Olajuwon. Punched away by Rodman. 6 to shoot.
Still plenty of time.
Horry's leading runner doesn't go. Robinson with his 3rd rebound, and he throws it out of bounds behind Avery Johnson. Kevin Callie, what do you have for us?
During the last timeout, Rudy T talking to Drexler. Clyde, most of the timeout, they're trying to work something out where they can get him involved. He's not yet into the offense.
Well, you got that right.
Well, what's happened is they put Sean Elliott on him, and they've taken away that little post play of his. Screen roll, when they're running it through Robinson, he's showing big, taking him off that shot. So the Spurs have made a nice adjustment to try to control Clyde Drexler.
Sam Cassell missing. Neither team shooting very well. It's tied at 14. Neither team is led by more than 3. We have 2:20 to go in the first quarter.
I've always felt it's been very difficult to shoot in the dome. You got different spacing, different depth perception. I never shot well in domes.
Person has his shot blocked by Clyde Drexler.
I should add to that, I was never discouraged, though.
No, that's right. Your number of attempts never went down.
That's right.
I like that. Hakeem Olajuwon into the paint. Hakeem now has 4 points. That's only his 2nd field goal out of 6 attempts. Rockets by 2. Sean Elliott stepped on the line. That's a 2 from Elliott. Elliott had an excellent game until he missed the 2 free throws with 30 seconds left in game number 1. Ronnie Nunn talking to Horry.
Elijah, watch this move, Bob. Look at this guy. 6'10", fakes, stops, ball fakes, goes back up, shoots a little floating shot. That looked easy. That was a very difficult shot.
Illegal defense is the call against San Antonio, but Ronnie Nunn had some words with Robert Horry. Thought there was going to be something happen there. They seem to have calmed down. Olajuwon got it in, and did you see Sean Elliott just slashing away at the ball, and Hakeem just kept control and laid it in. Rockets by 2. Avery Johnson missing. Olajuwon with a rebound. Outlet to Cassell. Rockets with the numbers. Drexler fouled by Chuck Person. The Rockets can run too. San Antonio, the best running team in the Western Conference, maybe in the NBA, but the Rockets can get out when they get those defensive boards.
Yes, they selectively run, and again, watch Olajuwon. It looks like Sean Elliott's going to block this shot, and he just barely misses it, and it goes in. You know, this last possession too, Bob, I watched Clyde Drexler the whole way. He was completely out of this play. We're going to watch this. Stop it right here. Look where Drexler is. Look where he is on this play, and watch where he ends up. Look at him sprint to get ahead of the floor. That's just using your speed in the open court and running yourself to get yourself involved in the game. You can't get in the half court, run out and create something for yourself in the open floor.
That looks like a veteran player who's been a many-time All-Star who wants a ring.
I would think that he's very, very hungry for that, and this Rocket team are starting to get that feeling once again.
Under a minute to go. Elliott's leaner won't fall. Olajuwon with the rebound. He has 6 in the first quarter. Rockets by 3. 45 seconds remaining.
Bob, we're on pace here for an 80-64 game right now.
Wow. Turnaround jumper on the baseline this time. Missed, but Olajuwon gets the loose ball, feeds it into Ellie.
Now see, Sean Elliott had that rebound, and Rodman is so worried about getting the rebound, he knocked that ball away from his teammate. Cost his team 2 points there.
He stole 3 rebounds the other night. Rodman now is 0 for 3 from the perimeter.
I've never seen Rodman take this many outside shots. I mean, he's taken 2 3-point shots in this quarter.
Well, we know one thing. We were talking to Bob Hill today. The one thing you know is that you don't know about Dennis
That's
Clark.
true. Every night is an adventure.
5 seconds in the quarter. Cassell trying to work on Avery Johnson. Triple team, and nobody can get the shot away. Hakeem Olajuwon came out and made an excellent recovery after going 1 for 5 from the floor. Ends up with 6 points and 6 rebounds after the first quarter.
Bob, I'm a little embarrassed by this right here, but you actually paid these guys to sing to you last night. And this is going to all odds for you to get some publicity here, but this was the serenading of Bob Neal last night in San Antonio.
Hey, they love me everywhere.
That's true.
It's incredible.
Wherever you go.
Badala, dala, la, ba, bamba. Is that how that goes?
Let's talk about the play where Rodman knocks the ball away. You see Sean Elliott's going to have this rebound in his hands right there, nobody else around. Rodman fights it for him. He ends up costing his team 2 points. That happened twice in that quarter.
Chucky Brown into the game for Houston on the drive, losing the ball. This gives the Spurs a chance for the fast break. Fast break points, Houston 9, San Antonio only 2. Rivers penetrates and dishes to Robinson.
Bob, remember we did the game where Orlando came out and they were so fired up that I think that Shaquille O'Neal was 2 for 12, couldn't make a shot. I sense a little bit of that in San Antonio right now. They're a little bit out of sync.
In the Chicago series.
Right, and as they tire, I think Robinson's going to get stronger as this game goes on, as he wears down a little bit. Let's watch.
It slows down.
That's correct.
J.R. Reed to Doc Rivers. Back to J.R. being defended by Chucky Brown. J.R. with the loose ball. The tip in came off the hand of Drexler. They'll give it to J.R. Reed. Rockets by 1.
Going to post Drexler against Chuck Person now. With Elijah One out of the game, everything will go through Drexler. This is where you can rest him a little bit.
Sam Cassell missing the short jumper. He's out of sync tonight, too. The foul is on the Houston Rockets, and it is on Charles Jones. Jones coming in and has done a great job, the 38-year-old being added to this Houston Rockets roster just before playoff time to keep him in here. He has added a lot, not just in playing time, but in wisdom and years of experience.
Well, what he can do, he can buy some minutes for you so that Olajuwon can rest and does not have to play Dennis or David Robinson every moment that he's out on the floor.
With 7 on the shot clock, Doc Rivers misses the 3. Charles Jones right on 2 with the rebound. Rockets by 1. Sam Cassell has struggled since he came into the game. He's 0 for 3 shooting. 10 to go on the shot clock. Drexler.
Wow, what a pretty shot.
Oh, baby.
Doc Rivers was all over him on that play, and Drexler just at 6'7", faded, shot the beautiful jump shot.
We spoke of this the other night. Clyde Drexler was our player of the game in the game 1 on Monday night. And we were talking about how I think he may be playing as well as he's ever played in his career now.
He's rejuvenated.
Foul on Cassell. And a timeout on the floor. With 9:36 remaining in the first half, Rockets up by 3. And NBA Commissioner David Stern is in the house tonight. He's with Kevin Kiley.
Thank you, Bob. Commissioner, welcome. And this could be called, I'm sure, the golden age of the NBA. The ratings are up. The interest is tremendous. Everyone loves the game. Tonight, the MVP trophy goes to one of the star players and great people.
We've had a great season, and just being here to present it to David with 36,000 other fans is very exciting personally and for the whole league.
And Hakeem, of course, won it last year, and both great people. But I have to ask you, San Antonio has both ends of it here. Today, Sports Illustrated, Dennis Rodman comes out on the cover. Questionable commentary inside. Your feelings on Dennis Rodman and how he affects the league?
I only read Sports Illustrated for the hockey and golf news. That seems to be what they spend most of their time on. Dennis is Dennis. The fact that a publication like that would choose to put that on the cover is their choice, but he's a member of the family, and every family has some unusual members.
Does his image worry you at all?
It should worry him a bit, but for us, we're an expansive league.
Commissioner, remarkable job. The NBA is terrific. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Bob.
Great job of the commissioner answering those Kevin Kiley questions. Thank you, Kevin. 25-21, Houston, 9:16 to go in the first half. Interestingly enough, speaking of ratings, as Doc Rivers gets the lay-in, The ratings continue to be up on television, on TNT, TBS, and on NBC. And Doug, a lot of people thought it was just the return of Michael Jordan. That's not been the case.
Well, I think what he did was, I think he really spurred the excitement once again in the playoffs. But with all the great playoff games, all the upsets, all the teams winning on the other team's courts, the excitement of the playoffs is just continuing to get larger and larger as we go on. But I really do believe that Michael's return really put the excitement back into the NBA. A little bit more maybe than it was when he wasn't there.
Clyde Drexler has 10 now. Chuck Person on the drive. Brown to Chucky Brown. Cassell with the offensive foul. Running over Doc Rivers. 2 personals on Sam Cassell. Speaking of Clyde Drexler,
this was a play coming out of a timeout. This is another play with Drexler going to the basket with a left-hand drive now. Olajuwon sits down. We said that the offense would go through Drexler. And then the next timeout, they come to the backdoor play, finding with a beautiful bounce pass, and he gets a layup on the other side. So Drexler did his job. He allowed Olajuwon to rest. He kept his team with a 4-point lead. Now Drexler will sit down, and the offense will go through Hakeem Olajuwon. That's why you have to have the inside-outside attack and allow Olajuwon to rest a little bit so he doesn't have to produce on both ends on every play.
8:20 to go in the first half. David Robinson gets it to Elliott over in the corner to Doc Rivers. Some good perimeter shooters in here right now for the San Antonio Spurs. Rivers missing from outside, and the Rockets have a 4-on-4 break going. They'll hold it out for a moment. Houston leading by 4. Robert Horry.
That's the guy who's going to be open. That's the guy who's going to have plenty of opportunities tonight. See, I think with Chucky Brown on the floor, you want to double off of him and make him be a player that makes shots rather than leave Robert Horry. I think that was a blown assignment that time by J.R. Reed.
David Robinson into the paint. Little short jumper, no problem. 30-25, very low-scoring game here in the Western Conference, something you do not expect, but these are both outstanding defensive teams.
Double team, kick it out, open shot, Horry, there it is once again.
He's in 2 in a row. You called that. Robert Horry now with 8 points, and Vinny Del Negro knocks down a 3. Now, just as I talk about this being the West and not high scoring, they start refueling the engine.
I think as the game has gone on, guys are settling down a little bit. We see the nerves early. Guys start getting into the flow of the game. Now they double off Chucky Brown, and Olajuwon finds him for a dunk. So right now, Bob Hill's defense, a little bit of disarray. They leave Horry, he hits 2 threes. They leave Brown, he gets a dunk.
Conference finals every night on TNT this week. Indiana and Orlando in Game 2, with Orlando leading in that series 1-0. That'll be up tomorrow at 8 Eastern Time. Then Doug and I will be in Houston for the San Antonio and Houston Rockets game, which will be at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on Friday night to conclude our coverage of the playoffs of 1995. Doug, I'm very interested in your thoughts on that Orlando-Indiana series. A lot of people thought it was going to be Orlando-New York. Kind of wrote them in there. Indiana steals it. Indiana looked like they were going to blow Orlando out early in the game. Orlando comes back. Your feelings about what that series will be?
The poise of the Magic has been amazing throughout this whole playoffs. We saw it in the Chicago series, and the pride of Shaquille O'Neal. That hack-a-shack is not working now. He's 10 of 12 from the free throw line, and it just goes to show you, don't try to embarrass a guy who's got a lot of pride. Shaquille has gone to practice. He's shooting his free throws and making it, and it's been a major, major plus for his team in the playoffs.
Orlando up 1-0. And by the way, Vinny Del Negro's last shot was changed from a 3 to a 2. Thus the change in the score. J.R. Reed with the rebound and the putback. Rockets 35, Spurs 29. Kevin.
Bob Hill very upset with the defense, saying they're doubling down too soon. They're leaving him open on the perimeter. When Chucky Brown's in the game, make him shoot the ball.
Except don't give him the dunk, huh, Doug?
That's right.
Olajuwon spins inside and misses. J.R. Reed to Willie Anderson, the veteran out of Georgia. Doesn't get many minutes anymore.
Probably in the game to try to energize his team a little bit. They need somebody that can help them get in the open court. Illegal defense, a very soft double team that time by the Rockets. That'll be the second, so there'll be free throw shot on this possession by Sean Elliott. See, Sam Cassell was coming across the floor to double team, and he did not go quickly. He sort of went very slowly, trying to make the guy pass the ball before he got there. The rules state you must go quickly into the double team.
Sean Elliott has been shooting. He's shot the second most free throws on this team this year, which indicates the fact that during the regular season, indicates the fact that he's been taking the ball to the hoop more. He's been rejuvenated back here in San Antonio.
Well, you know, this is a very tight-knit team. He, David Robinson, Avery Johnson, all very close. They enjoy playing with each other, and I think that really shows in their record this year. They have had a lot of fun being once again reunited and being teammates.
David Robinson with the reverse, count the basket and the foul. And a lot of people don't know this trivia. Who was the final person Sean Elliott was traded for? He's with your new team, Bill Curley. I just wanted to point that out. I know you're aware of the roster.
David Robinson going to his right, comes back with the left hand. But Bob, you are right on the draft. Excuse me, on the trade. It was initially Sean Elliott for Dennis Rodman, then Sean Elliott comes back in the Billy Curley deal. So let's hope that Billy will be healthy this year and he can help the Pistons.
A lot of pressure on him there.
That's exactly what he's going to have.
I thought you'd want to put some on him here in the playoffs. I hope he's listening. David Robinson, 12 points, 8 in this second quarter, and that was Akeem Olajuwon's second personal foul. Down to Olajuwon into the paint. There's the double team, the jump hook, no rebound. Elliott. San Antonio on an 8-2 run.
They want to push it here, get something in the open court.
Willie Anderson. Spurs are down to a tie at 35.
The full court pressure has taken the Rockets out of their half-court sets. It's not to steal the ball, but it's to get the ball out of the point guard's hands. So right now they're in a scramble situation. Have not been able to run their offense.
7 on the shot clock for Akeem. Now 4. Illegal defense is called by Joe Crawford.
Willie Anderson, a very popular player here in San Antonio, has gone through a lot of leg injuries, has battled back, getting an opportunity here to come in and energize his team. Hits a big shot. Mario Elie hits the technical free throw. So once again, the Rockets are up 1. Drexler will come back into the game. Mario Elie, once again, a very nice job off the bench, very solid minutes.
We have 5 minutes remaining in the first half of play. 36-35 Houston on the technical free throw on the illegal defense call.
Now with this lineup out on the floor, Charles Jones will be lifted. J.R. Reed will probably be the guy to double team.
Charles Jones goes hard to the hoop on the other side, but Reed's there to pin him away. Olajuwon's strength. And we've got a jump ball with Avery Johnson and the Dream. This will be good.
Watch Olajuwon, though. He spins, and here comes Avery Johnson, gets a hold of it. And look at the strength of Olajuwon to just rip that ball away.
If Avery hadn't let it go, he would have lifted him off the floor.
Now watch him. He should tip this ball back to Ori or Cassell.
J.R. Reed stepped out. However, it's over and back. J.R. Reed in the circle.
He violated the circle before the ball was tipped. He tried to steal the tip. Keep your eye on J.R. Reed. As the ball goes up, he moves through before it was touched. That's where the violation. But Robert Horry should step in there and not allow him to do that. Guys don't grow up with jump balls anymore, so they don't know how to play them.
That's right.
It's alternating possession in college. You get to a jump ball, it's like you've never seen it before.
I'm going back. I'm going to go on a personal campaign in the summer to bring back the jump ball to college basketball. Just what we need. Right?
I grew up with a jump ball. One of the fun things to do was to read the eyes of the tipper and try to steal it, but guys don't see it anymore.
No, it's true. I'm only partially kidding. It would add some more excitement back to the college game instead of having the arrow, but we'll not deal with that now. We have the Rockets up by 1 with 4:47 to go in the first half, and they have reset the clock. That's why our brief delay. Robert Horry into Cassell.
Let's see if Sam Cassell can get on track here. He's a big part of this team coming off the bench, and he's been very, very quiet.
Drexler's fadeaway over 2. over Anderson and Elliott.
How about Clyde Drexler? Has he ever played any better than this?
I don't remember seeing him play more smoothly and with confidence. He loves it here in Houston, of course, where he played his college ball with Phi Slamma Jamma. And we've got a foul on Willie Anderson.
Look at Drexler shaking, pulling up over two guys. Now, Sean Elliott's 6'8", and Willie Anderson's 6'7", and look how easy Drexler makes this look. You wonder how great these players are?
Clyde the Glide, 3-point Rockets lead. Olajuwon quickly, left, right, and then back to the baseline.
There's no way he knew what he was going to do then. I mean, no way. There's no way.
4 minutes in the first half. 5-0 Houston run. Anderson on the drive. Open man Avery.
That's the shot he has to make right there.
Avery Johnson, with his first shot from the perimeter, has 6 points, and it's a 3-point Rockets lead.
See a little up-court pressure here. Just trying to slow him down a little bit. J.R. Reed's helping up off Charles Jones. We are now down to about 10 seconds on the clock before Olajuwon touches it.
Cassell. This is the three, kept alive by Charles Jones.
Use the clock here. This is where Houston wants to be able to make them play defense.
Horry steps up for the three. He has 3 in this game. Only 1 field goal in the entire game in game 1 for Robert Horry. It did turn out to be the game winner.
So we talked about in the first quarter, he was going to have a lot of opportunities tonight to have a big game, and he's doing that, really forcing San Antonio to change their defensive coverages.
Kicked out of bounds by Houston, 10 on the shot clock for San Antonio. 35,888 in here. It sounds a lot like being in a football stadium, which this building is configured for, because the crowd is so big and so many. It's a different kind of noise than you hear in most of the regular basketball arenas. J.R. Reed over traffic. Charles Jones, who played so well off the bench on Monday. Drexler, air ball.
Look at Olajuwon just wrestle the ball away from 3 Spurs.
they finally bring him down. Look like Jack and the Beanstalk there. Willie Anderson. That's a 2. He stepped on the line.
You know, Willie Anderson, the knock on him as a player early was that he couldn't make shots. A lot of times you get injured, you get in the gym and all you do is shoot, and you become a pretty good shooter.
Well, 35,888 rock and roll here at the Alamo Dome, but their Spurs are down by 4 with 2:17 to go. In 2:17, we'll join Ernie Johnson in Atlanta with the first half analysis and some hoop talk with his friends Mike Fratello and Derek Harper. Doug, you were in that studio on Monday night. What do you do while we're doing the game here? You just sit back, have yourself a soft drink, play a little poker. What do you have?
Well, I watched Ernie work the whole day, and then I stepped in for about 5 minutes and just rode his coattails. I sort of like that, like I'm doing right now with you.
And took the check, and you don't even feel guilty.
They gave me a ball, sent a limo for me. I've never felt so loved, and I'm leaving. So
I'm burned up. I'm out here on the road, catching cabs. You're in a limo. But that's because you're the new head coach of the Detroit Pistons. Rockets up by 4. 2:31 to go in the first half. Olajuwon on the bench right now, resting while they check out this clock problem. Akeem has 8 points. David Robinson, on the other hand, has 11 for San Antonio.
Well, let's take a look here at the offensive possessions. Hakeem Olajuwon has touched the ball on 24 of the Rockets' 38 possessions. They've scored 24 points on those possessions. David Robinson has only 14 touches and 42 possessions for only 10 points. So the Rockets have done a great job of neutralizing how many times Robinson catches it, and then after that, the effectiveness of his touches. Olajuwon getting much more involvement in the offense. I think they've got to find a way to get Robinson involved to get him going once again. They need him to score some points. They're sitting on 39 here with about 2.5 minutes to go.
They have the clock fixed now with 2:20 to go. The lob to Olajuwon. San Antonio not quite ready for Ori's nice lob to Akeem, who now has 10, and the Rockets are up by 6.
San Antonio needs a nice strong finish like they got in game 1.
Robinson misses the jump hook. Akeem Olajuwon pulls down his 9th rebound of the half.
But Ori's spotting up for 3 if they find him. They cannot leave him. Willie Anderson cannot leave him. He's too hot.
Not this time, but he did leave him. Rodman with the rebound on the run. Robinson runs smack dab into Ori. No call. And his body's everywhere. Let's see if everybody's all right.
I think David Robinson banged up his right knee. He's got the knee sleeve, and he got a little bit shaken on that play. Very fortunate there was no offensive foul called.
Olajuwon also was on the pile. Drexler.
Olajuwon never crossed half court, and Drexler scored 2 points.
Wow. Rockets by 6. Clyde Drexler with 14, scored 10 here in the second quarter. Minute 14 to go in the second.
Elliott
Johnson looking for Sean Elliott.
Trying to post up against Cassell. Watch David Robinson here, Bob, as he gives this ball up. Look at Ori steps in. He buried him. That really should have been an offensive foul. And you can see David shaking up on that play, and then Olajuwon goes down in a heap right there as he tried to block the shot. So back-to-back MVPs could have gotten hurt there. That's how a series changed in a real hurry.
A valuable pile-up, you might want to call that.
That is right.
Sam Cassell goes to the bench with 3 fouls. Kenny Smith in for the final minute. Robinson, tough shot for him to go to his left hand there. The ball is swallowed up by the Admiral, but there were too many Rockets around him. And Houston now running with a 6-point lead. Foul on Dennis Rodman. At the conclusion of tonight's game, Doug Collins and I will be selecting the Budweiser player of the game. It was Clyde Drexler in game number 1. And the man in the orange hair there is always a candidate for player of the game, Dennis Rodman. Rodman came in and opened up this game just firing it in the first quarter. Took 3 perimeter shots, 2 threes, hit 2 layups, had 4 points, but hasn't shot or played much here in the second.
Last 48 seconds. Can the Rockets push it up to 10? Or can maybe the Spurs cut into it, get it to maybe a 2 or 3 point game? Let's watch what's the finish here. It could be very, very important as we go into halftime.
Olajuwon's turnaround jumper over the 7-footer David Robinson doesn't go. Rodman again with a rebound in the run. He thought about the shot there. Inside to David Robinson. Followed by Anderson. Rebound Drexler, who's done a little bit of everything. He's had a block shot. He scored 14 points and is rebounding the ball strong on defense.
And let's give Charles Jones some credit. He is now playing Robinson, force him to work very hard, allowing Olajuwon to take a breather on the defensive end and sort of be of a gambler and a center fielder playing team defense.
3 seconds to shoot. Kenny Smith has to throw up the runner. It goes down to beat the buzzer. Ronnie Nunn, we've had clock troubles getting the clock started and stopped here. Ronnie Nunn will readjust the clock and they'll reset it to 2.5 seconds in the half as San Antonio got the timeout. 20 seconds. So 2.5 seconds remaining in the first half. And Doug, you asked the question, can the Rockets build it up to around 10 or do the Spurs catch up? Right now looks like Rockets are going to have a pretty comfortable cushion at the half.
And it's their pace. They have kept San Antonio from any easy opportunities. Avery Johnson's been a non-factor in the open court. You see Kenny Smith with a little floating shot. David Robinson is getting nothing easy. They've done a better job on Sean Elliott. No one has picked up the slack here. I would have to say the best player right now off the bench has been Willie Anderson. He has come in, and if it weren't for him, they could be down 10, 12 points in a game that's in the 40s. That would not bode well right now for the San Antonio Spurs.
Willie 3 for 3 off the bench. Robinson only 4 of 11. He was 5 of 17 in the game Monday night. Long-range shot almost went down for Sean Elliott. It's been an interesting, herky-jerky, defensively controlled first half of play with the exception of Clyde the Glide, who has 14. 49-41 Houston. Right after this, we'll join Ernie, Mike Fratello, and Derek Harper in Atlanta.
The Reebok Halftime Report is brought to you by Reebok.
All right, it's Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. The Houston Rockets, who won Game 1 at the Alamo Dome, leading Game 2, 49-41 at the break. Ernie Johnson in Atlanta with the Reebok Halftime Report, joined tonight by Derek Harper of the New York Knicks and Cavs head coach Mike Fratello. Derek, you know, David Robinson gets his MVP hardware. The place is rocking tonight. You think there's really going to be an emotional lift, but San Antonio came out kind of sluggish tonight.
I think you have to credit Houston for that. I think their defense was really, really good early in the game. I think it was a defensive war for the most part early. I still feel like David is going to have to get the ball in better position to score, and they're going to have to get to the three-point shooters for Houston.
What is up here, Coach? In danger, the Rockets are, not the Rockets in danger, but the Spurs in danger of falling down 2-0 at home. What's up here?
An unusual first half in regards that it starts out 3-2 after, 5 minutes of the game had gone by. It's a 3-2 score. I thought it was a final in a baseball game. Then suddenly the first run takes place. Houston hits some threes and opens it up. San Antonio extends their defense. They get themselves right back into the basketball game, and then the late push by Houston to open it back up to 8. So far, the runs going back and forth here in the first half.
San Antonio only had 16 points in the first quarter. They started to pick it up on the offensive end of things in the second period and close the gap in this thing. Let's go to the highlights and take a look, Mike, at what San Antonio was doing with the ball.
The offensive end of the floor, they were looking for mismatches. The one they find here is Chuck Person too big and too strong to be played by Sam Cassell down low. So they immediately send Chuck Person down into the low post area and ask Doc Rivers to take the ball over, make the entry pass, and let Chuck go to work. Well, entry pass, Chuck would catch, turn and look. The problem, though, is that Clyde Drexler backs off of Doc Rivers and basically says, I'm not going to let you find that man down in the low post. They're two-timing the guy that they're trying to post up. So Rivers sees the gap, sees the alley, and decides to use dribble penetration to try and break the defense down. The guy that he puts on the spot is Charles Jones. His decision is, do I stay with my man, David Robinson, or do I go up and protect the front of the rim? Well, he decided to protect the front of the rim and come over and stop Rivers. That's one way of getting David Robinson going. Now, the thing that I said earlier that got San Antonio back in the game was the extended defense, the defensive pressure, in trying to take Houston out of their half-court offense. Sometimes, however, a team can apply so much pressure because they are so excited, so involved emotionally, and the crowd gets into the game that they can wind up causing problems, having mistakes. In this instance, as Houston's trying to get into their half-court offense, Chuck Person jumps out hard and tries to deny the entry pass to Clyde Drexler. Houston raises up the other offensive people to break down the weak side help. Now Clyde just runs a jam step, backdoor move, and hopes that the point guard, Sam Cassell, finds him with the bounce pass, and you know if Clyde gets it, he'll finish.
Clyde Drexler with 14 points in the first half to lead the Houston Rockets. Doc Rivers said after Game 1, we've got to stop this guy because he's a good player, but if he really has the confidence going, he becomes a great player, and he has had a great first half. 14 points, Houston up 49-41. When we come back, the latest on Sir Charles. That news comes up next. The reigning champions, the Rockets, with an 8-point lead after 24 minutes at the Alamo Dome as the Reebok halftime report continues. The news out of Phoenix today, Charles Barkley is going to have knee surgery. Not a real major deal here. They're going to repair some loose cartilage. And after he rehabs for 6 weeks, Sir Charles says he will then make a decision on whether he's going to play next year. Barkley did say that the pain in his left knee had gotten to the point that if the Suns had beaten the Rockets in the semis, he wouldn't have been able to play. Charles Barkley, 32 years old. Derek Harper, 33 years old. And when does your body start telling you things that it wasn't mentioning to you before, earlier in your career? You've been in this league 12 years, Derek.
Well, I think right about now. I think 12, 13 years into league, you're going to start to feel a little bit different. The back-to-backs are going to be a little bit more difficult for you. The travel is going to get more difficult. But I think the fortunate thing for me personally is that I haven't had any serious injuries, and I think that that's going to play into my favor. Guys that have had serious injuries throughout their career are definitely going to start to feel it at this point in their career.
As the body starts sending messages, does the mind play an even bigger role, that you got to play through this thing and put up with it?
It's very difficult to when your body can't go for your mind to say go sometimes. You know, I hate to be in this. You hate to be in the situation, but sooner or later you're going to be there, and it's a reality.
Charles Barkley still, I guess, backing off a little bit, Mike, on, you know, I guess the heat of the moment, saying, yeah, this is it, I'm not going to play anymore. Now he says he's going to make up his mind after the rehab. Paul Westphal saying, you know, if I could play him 30 minutes a night, scale him back, save his body a little bit, he could do it. Will that work for the guy like Charles Barkley?
We're facing a similar situation in Cleveland right now with Mark Price, who had nagging injuries all last season. This season gone by, he breaks a wrist. A couple other things happen along the way. And Mark has come out and openly said that maybe the best thing for him would be to play fewer minutes next season, try to finish real strong going into the playoffs next year. And then I think he realizes that we've been blessed also by having Terrell Brandon as the backup point guard, who played sensational when Mark was out this year. So they come to a realization sometime of what's best for them and the team.
Well, is there a difficulty in that transition from being the man to being one of the guys?
It's only difficult if the person is not willing to accept what reality is and deal with it himself within.
All right, Mike Fratello and Derek Harper here in the Atlanta studio. We're going to come back and talk about Indiana-Orlando Game 2 coming up when we come back. The Rockets leading the Spurs by 8 tomorrow night here on TNT. It is Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final. Orlando and Indiana. The Magic with a 1-0 lead over the team that knocked you guys out, Derek Harper. And I want the definitive answer on this thing now. After Reggie Miller's heroics in Game 1, choke artists, et cetera, how did you guys take that? Did it immediately go up on the wall? Did any of you brush it off and say that's Reggie being Reggie? How did you handle it?
I think as a team it was sort of frustrating to hear. I think our basketball team tried to find a way to use it for motivation. We felt like we gave them Game 1. They didn't really earn that game. We didn't quite finish that game. You know, Reggie is going to be Reggie. He's going to say things to get under your skin, and he's a very smart guy when it comes to that kind of stuff. I think that's basically what he was trying to do.
Now, when you watch a series, do you root for somebody now? Do you say, well, I want Orlando because Indiana knocked us out, or well, they're in our division and we don't really like the Magic either, or are you impartial? What's up?
I'm impartial, actually.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'm sort of with Orlando, but I'm thinking that Indiana is going to find a way to beat them.
Mike Fratello, take a look at Game 2 and tell me why Indiana is going to even this thing up, stealing one at the Arena. Are they going to be able to do that?
Well, they obviously have overcome a lot of obstacles along the way this season with injuries to key guys, and then the fact that they had to come back and win that big Game 7 against New York. So there's a belief, I think, within this team that they can get it done. And I think in their hearts they honestly feel that they did not play well and did not, in all fairness, have a long time to prepare and getting ready for Orlando. So I think all those things factored in that Larry Brown will get them back on track, believing they can steal one here.
Your old friend Brian Hill, the head coach of the Orlando Magic, and Richie Adubato, another friend of yours. Put yourself in their shoes right now. What's the message you're giving your team before Game 2?
The message I'm afraid of is I see a monster being created here in Orlando. This is a team that had some doubt going into the Boston series whether or not they really could win after having a great regular season. Brian was under a lot of pressure as the head coach, to come up and win a playoff series or two and move on. Then they wind up squeaking past Boston in the public's eyes. They gained this confidence, level of confidence, by knocking off Chicago, defeating the legend Michael Jordan. And suddenly now, this team feels pretty good about themselves, so they're at this level of confidence where they may get on a roll and not stop this year. I think a lot of credit should go to the players and the coaching staff for what they've done thus far.
That's Game 2 tomorrow night, right here on TNT. Coming up, third quarter from San Antonio, Rockets by 8.
The Reebok Halftime Report has been brought to you by Reebok.
Back at the Alamo Dome, where the Houston Rockets have an 8-point halftime lead of 49-41 in game number 1. The San Antonio Spurs led by 1 point, 53-52 at halftime. Doug, you said something earlier this year, but also right before tonight's game about Houston. They have two players you count on to score, Hakeem Olajuwon and Drexler, and they never know who's going to be stepping up to be the third man. They've got another one to hear tonight.
Well, the 1-2 punch again tonight, 11 for 22 in the first half, 24 points, so that's 49% of their offense, basically right on track. But Robert Horry, 11 points tonight, 3 for 6 from the three-point line, so he's giving them a big lift tonight with his shooting. And I think that the pace of this game right now, that San Antonio is playing very tentative and very tight. Robinson and Elliott combined 5 for 17, and they really have no flow. Avery Johnson, only 1 assist. That means they're getting no running game at all. Everything is in the half court.
And we noticed when Avery Johnson came out here, by the way, at halftime, he's still limping a little bit, twisted his ankle very early in the game. Let's find out what Bob Hill thinks about the San Antonio Spurs and the way they played in the first half. Kevin?
Bob, instant replay from game 1. Drexler hurting you, 14 points. David Ruff first half, 4 of 11, 4 turnovers. First Drexler. Can you stop him?
Yeah, we're not playing with any emotion. We're playing almost like we're satisfied to have gotten to the Western Conference Finals, and now we'll be better next year. I mean, that's what I read. We got to play with more emotion in the second half. We got to push the ball and spread the floor, and we got to make quick decisions. We have no presence on offense whatsoever, and we're not making them pay for what they're doing to David. I mean, we just haven't read the situations properly. We haven't reacted to them. So we just, defensively, I thought at times, Drexler hurt us, but we're making Hakeem take some tough shots, and we're there defensively. We're just not scoring.
All right, Bob. Thanks a lot. Good luck second half. Back to you, Bob.
So Bob Hill not very pleased with the emotional level of his team in the first half. Our Budweiser game summary. First of all, our MVP matchup.
Well, you can see the defense has been very good on both of the big guys. Olajuwon only 5 for 13. Robinson 12 for 5 at 4 turnovers. And again, a little bit out of sync. But that three-point shooting, look at that, 5 for 10, 0 for 6. And Robert Horry has been the guy who really has been the one stepping up and making those big shots. And that's the Rockets' philosophy. We're going to pound you inside with Drexler or Olajuwon. If you double team, we're going to space the floor. We're not worried about offensive rebounds. We're going to shoot the three. And it's worked into a championship last year. And right now, they're a very poised team. If I'm the Rockets and I'm Rudy T, I'm saying, guys, go for it right now. Win this game tonight. Don't be satisfied. Lay it all out there. They're going to come at us with an emotional surge. Let's keep our poise. We can win this game because we have them shaken right now a little bit. San Antonio has lost a little confidence, Bob, I think, in their game.
Dennis Rodman you saw come out there with his, tonight I guess you'd call it orange hair. Dennis Rodman took 1 3-point attempt in the regular season, 1 in the playoffs. He's 0 for 3 from three-point line tonight.
We said we never knew what to expect.
Hakeem Olajuwon kicks it out to Mario Ellie.
Inside, outside for the 3.
Dennis Rodman pulls down the rebound.
See, he can trigger their running game by pushing the ball up like that and getting the ball to Robinson quickly. If Rodman will do that, he can help get them into the running game. It doesn't necessarily have to go through Avery Johnson. There's a defensive rebound, and watch him. 1, 2, 3 dribbles, and he powers out with his speed. And now David Robinson posting up right underneath the basket. Olajuwon never in a position to defend against him. That position is way too deep. Leads to a personal foul.
On Hakeem Olajuwon, who now is carrying 2 fouls. David Robinson rattles it home. And speaking of Rodman, while we're talking about him, Rodman had 5 rebounds in the first half. He's averaging nearly 15 a game in the playoffs. And against the Houston Rockets in the last 3 regular season games, Rodman averaged 26 rebounds a game. So he's off in that department so far here tonight.
See, I find it interesting that Ellie's starting the second half because we know Rudy T now wants to get off to a great start. So he's got Ellie on the floor instead of Jilka.
Smith with 10 to shoot to Ellie. Trouble with the slick ball. 5 to shoot. Drexler. 3 is in and out of there. That's Rodman. 2 quick rebounds here to start this half.
And again, pushing the ball, getting into the running game. They get the ball up quickly. 17 seconds on the shot clock.
Sean Elliott with a ball fake. Wanted to pass it to Rodman. Tipped away by excellent defense on the part of the Houston Rockets, leading 49-43. Olajuwon, tough shot, leaning in, gets Robinson in the air. What an athlete.
See, when you're a great player and you shoot 5 for 13, it doesn't faze you. You come right out, you put that right behind you, and you say, you know what, second half I could shoot 8 for 13 and be 50%.
That's spoken like you had that thought, that actual thought, your own self.
Oh, I think like that all the time, Bob. I'd kill to get 26 shots tonight.
Rodman with the drive misses the lay-in, and the loose ball comes into the hands of Ori, who was popped right in the eye, and he's still down at the other end as Ellie kicks it back out. Ori now catching up to his team. Into Akeem Olajuwon from the baseline. Rebound. Rodman. Now he has 3 rebounds. Negro quickly to the hole. Rodman keyed that with the defensive board.
You can already see the Spurs, because of their good defensive rebounding, they're pushing the ball out. If they could place them with some emotion here, they could get this crowd excited. Houston has kept them at bay with plays like that. Olajuwon with the silencer once again to this crowd.
Akeem Olajuwon makes it 53-45. Houston, Vinny Del Negro, whose minutes have been going down in the playoffs, he has not been shooting well. Elliott wanted a foul from Drexler, didn't get it. 6 on the shot clock. Elliott, tough shot over Olajuwon, hits the top of the backboard. This is the Alamo Dome, nearly 36,000 here for Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. Houston up 1 game to nothing, and they're up 8 points here in the third quarter in game number 2. Along with Doug Collins and Kevin Kiley, this is Bob Neal. Hope you enjoy our TNT playoff coverage. Olajuwon, look at spinning, that. Floating, scoring. Whoa.
I said, Akeem, how do you score? And he goes, I spin left, I spin right.
55-45, Rockets have just built their biggest lead. Akeem Olajuwon has 16 timeouts, San Antonio.
The whirling dervish, Akeem Olajuwon. Remember now, this guy is 6 feet, 10 inches tall.
They call him Akeem the Dream, but for most of the opposition, he is Akeem the Nightmare.
Well, the first 6 possessions of the second half, Olajuwon has touched it on 5 of them. He's 3 of 4 from the floor. You saw the jump hook. Now you see the screen roll, the spinning, whirling move in the lane, and the finish. And quietly, the Rockets up by 10, doing the business. And was there anybody who had a greater weapon in the NBA than the sky hook of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Look at all the MVPs in attendance. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dave Cowan, of course, who's an assistant with San Antonio, Moses Malone, who's on the injured list, Akeem Olajuwon, and of course David Robinson, this year's most valuable player. There's Dave Cowens. They're rumoring him to be a candidate for the new head coach in Boston. Doug, what have you heard? You're in that mix now.
Bob, I've been so busy with Turner preparing, I haven't had a chance to get into the grapevine, you know?
You've already started coach talk. Well done. Well done. Kenny Smith from Ori. 10-point Rocket lead, saved by Olajuwon. Into the hands of Johnson, stolen by Drexler. Ori. Down inside to Olajuwon again. There's that spin move again. He is on fire. 4 out of 5 here in the third quarter, and the Rockets have built a 12-point lead.
He was 5 for 13, so already you can see him imposing his will on this game. Kenny Smith with the illegal defense.
Houston on a 6-0 run. Kevin Kiley.
Last huddle for San Antonio. Lots of activity. Dennis Rodman off with the shoes, threw a towel down. Avery Johnson said, hey, it's time to grow up. Willie Anderson said, quiet, let's hear Coach Bob Hill. And they all agreed, we need more emotion. Let's get it going.
Well, he got some from Dennis. They're down 12, the San Antonio Spurs. And at halftime, Bob Hill told Kevin Kiley, I hope you heard that if you joined us at halftime, said, I don't think this team is playing with emotion.
Well, right now, the Rockets are playing at their tempo. They get a very fortunate bounce here. The Spurs do, because it looked like Olajuwon had that bounce. J.R. Reed needs to be able to score some points for this team. That's why he's in the ball game for Rodman. He's more of a scoring threat, and they need some offense right now.
Sean Elliott with that drive and layup. There's the double team, beaten pretty quickly by Houston. Ori is going to kick it to Olajuwon. To Drexler. That's 3 from Clyde. Clyde Drexler has 17 points.
Isn't it sort of scary how the confidence is growing with this Houston Rocket team every game that they've played in the playoffs?
Everybody thought they'd lose to Utah in the first round. Except Houston. Loose ball foul is on San Antonio. It's on Robinson. That's his second.
Olajuwon creating the three-point opportunity for Drexler. The inside-outside attack once again And the deadly third quarter the other night for the San Antonio Spurs. You see what they happened. Shot 25%, scored only 15 points, and had 8 turnovers. And right now they've dug themselves a 13-point hole, and the Rockets, little by little, pulling away, playing with tremendous confidence.
And they continue going inside to this man. Not this time. J.R. Reed gets the rebound. Doc Rivers in at the point. Willie Anderson.
See, Bob Hill really going to a different lineup now.
Robinson with a nice drive and lay in as he beat everybody. And David Robinson now with 16 points.
See, Willie Anderson in the game for defense. You've got Doc Rivers in the game for defense. Somebody's going to have to give him some points other than Robinson and Elliott.
The team has missed 2 now. Wanted a foul, didn't get it. 60-49 Rockets. Elliott on the drive again. Open man, J.R. Reed. He's fouled. Houston playing with the most emotion we've seen in this game right during this period.
Yes, as they built the lead, but Olajuwon the last couple possessions done something uncharacteristic of him, done a lot of talking like he's gotten fouled. That time he never got back down the floor, put his team at a disadvantage, and San Antonio ran out and got J.R. Reed an opportunity in the open floor. So Hakeem, I've never seen him talk so much, and the last couple possessions really getting in Joey Crawford's ear. That's not a guy you want to talk to too much.
Maybe he's speaking in Nigerian. That's possible. Hakeem speaks multiple languages, so he can select which one he thinks.
So does Joey Crawford. So.
Joey doesn't speak them, but he understands them all.
That's correct.
Robert Horry picked up the personal there. That's his first for Houston. Now we got a foul in the backcourt on J.R. Reed.
The Spurs now bringing their pressure up the floor. Again, they did this in the second quarter to try to get Kenny Smith to give the ball up, throw it back to Robert Horry, get the ball out of the point guard's hands, make them use some clock, disrupt their offensive sets, but right now they're in a nice rhythm. Everything's going through Olajuwon and Drexler.
Just like there on the pick and roll. Drexler with the pick from Olajuwon, the roll, the feed, the shot. Hakeem has 20. Go with 10 points in this quarter.
Can J.R. Reed give them some offense against Horry? He's very capable.
Robinson loses it. Out of bounds, 10 on the shot clock. It'll belong to San Antonio.
David Robinson must think there's 7 Houston Rockets out on the floor right now, because every place he goes, he's being denied, he's being doubled, he's being swarmed, and they do not have great shooting on the floor right now. Vinny Del Negro is sitting down, and they've got to have somebody space up and make some shots. Person has been ineffective also.
Doc Rivers has been unable to hit the perimeter shot in his play off the bench for Avery Johnson, who was gimpy as the second half began with his left ankle. Here's Reed. Let's see what he can do.
Well, the Rockets are swarming.
Doc Rivers missing from long range, and Hakeem Olajuwon now has 10 rebounds to go with his 20 points.
Now, if you're Houston right now, keep using clock, go into Olajuwon, get the double team. If not, let him go one-on-one. If so, kick it out and shoot the 3. Just like that, although you'd like to get a score there.
Mario Ellie missing. 11-point Rockets lead. Sean Elliott. We've got a foul down on the baseline away from the ball, a hold. It's on Clyde Drexler.
The more you struggle at home, the more tentative you become. The clock starts to work against you. Things don't flow easily for you. You start squeezing shots. That's where you look for a guy like Robinson and Elliott to give you a big lift, Bob. They have got to come to the front right now and lift their team spirits. Right now they are drifting away out of this game. They need them badly. Let's see if Elliott can get a score here.
John Elliott defended by Drexler, who just picked up his second personal foul. Draws the double team. The open man in the corner is Doc Rivers. He knocks down a 3. That'll give him a big lift. 8-point Rockets lead.
They're still right in the ball game. They just got to have their defense sustain them.
Horry, not this time. Robinson with a rebound. Anderson way out in front. From Robinson, blocked by Horry. Oh, Anderson answers. Olajuwon rebound.
That's one of those turnaround plays that they chart in Houston. Horry gets back and takes away a layup. And can they capitalize on this end of the floor?
Olajuwon does just that after the dribble penetration from Kenny Smith. And Houston's back to a 10-point lead. This team is inspirational.
Instead of 6, it's 10. Those are those turnaround plays. That's a 4-point swing.
J.R. Reed, they're working on it, as you said, Doug, trying to get some offense out of him against Ori. Spinning into the post. Tough play down there. J.R. can't get it to fall. Out of bounds off Doc Rivers. It'll be Houston ball with 4:13. And Charles Jones coming in.
Look at Robert Ori get back into the play. The great hustle, the great block. It leads to 2 points to the other end of his team. And it takes, once again, the crowd out of the ball game. Robert Ori and the Houston Rockets with 6 block shots tonight.
They had, 8 in game number 1?
And Elijah Wan had 5 of those. There's a little turnover here, unforced error by Kenny Smith.
The trap at half court caused him to lose his concentration and throw the ball away. 3:58 to go in the third quarter. J.R. Reed working inside. He's fouled on the spin move by Mario Elie.
They are searching every possible way to find some offense right now. Their defense, Bob, has not been that bad. They've only given up 64 points, but they're struggling at 55 points. The Spurs, one of the better offensive teams in the league this year. They've been playing in mud tonight, which is exactly what Rudy Tomjanovich wants them to do.
Kenny Smith guarding Doc Rivers. Foul away from the ball. It's on Charles Jones of the famous Jones brothers of Albany State. How about this? The top 6 rebounders in the history of Albany State. The Jones boys. And yes, they're all brothers.
And Caldwell Jones, one of my all-time favorite people. I played with him in Philadelphia. You talk about a guy that would cover up your mistakes. That guy could block shots in a heartbeat. Boy, look at Caldwell, Major, Wilbur. I think I played against all those guys, even Oliver back in '61, I think.
Doug. Our director, Lonnie Dale, said Hubie Brown coached them all. That's possible. So Charles Jones here playing in the playoffs, 38 years old. It's a 8-point Rockets lead.
See what Charles Jones is doing right now, though. He's going to play Robinson so Olajuwon can get a little bit of a rest. Robinson doesn't have that luxury. He's got to pound on Olajuwon at both ends of the floor. Now watch as they come down. Charles Jones will play against David Robinson. Olajuwon will play J.R. Reed. He will roam. He will catch his breath. And he'll be the center fielder back there defensively in case someone gets to the basket, like right there.
Doc Rivers with a beautiful penetration and lay-in. Rockets by 8, 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Rudy Tomjanovich wants and gets a timeout for his Houston Rockets.
Olajuwon is getting in the lane, and he's in rhythm. Watch how rhythmic this shot is. Across the lane, the little running jump shot. Doc Rivers gets into the lane. You see Olajuwon tries to get over there, but a spectacular shot by Doc Rivers pulls his team to within 8.
The Houston Rockets, what an inspirational story. Late in the year, they lose Vernon Maxwell by mutual agreement because of personal problems. He gets suspended. Hakeem Olajuwon has anemia, and as their coach Rudy T told us before, they're the only team that could get better in the playoffs.
At the end of the season, we thought we had our lineup together, and then we find out that Hakeem and Max have anemia. So we entered the playoffs, probably the only team out of all the playoff teams that had the potential to get a lot better. And we have grown through the first 2 series.
Yeah, there's the first 2 series. The Jazz, they were favored. Suns, of course, favored. Houston eliminated them, both of them, in the final games, the 5th and the 7th.
And we're down big in both of those games, 10.5 to the Phoenix Suns, and I think they were down at one point in time by, I think it was 12 to the Utah Jazz. Battled back and won. Shows their resiliency and also shows the heart of a champion. The Spurs have got to find a way to win this game tonight.
Olajuwon on the drive again, working inside. 26 points for Olajuwon, 16 here in the third quarter.
He's running a clinic right now. He's doing everything offensively that you could ever teach a big man, and it's all with tremendous footwork.
10 to shoot. Doc Rivers knocks down a 3. Rivers has come in and given them some scoring punch from the bench. 10 points now for Doc Rivers. And the Rockets, despite playing very well, are still up only 7.
As much as we're singing the praises, that's exactly right. This game is right there. If they can find a way to stop one of these 2 guys, Drexler and Olajuwon, it's like your turn, my turn.
Drexler laid that in over the incredible athletic leap of David Robinson. He has 19, Clyde.
I think people underestimated how much Clyde Drexler had left in that body of his when he left Portland.
You got that right. Sean Elliott has it stripped away. Looked like Drexler got him. Let's go back and take it. Akeem and Clyde Drexler. First, Akeem.
Now watch all these moves. All right, crossover, stop, fake, spin, back up and under. And you're talking about David Robinson's one of the best defensive players. And look at this. Over Robinson, Drexler with the great extension. We're talking about David Robinson, one of the premier defensive players in the game of all time. And both Olajuwon and Drexler with sensational moves on back-to-back plays against him.
Yeah, Robinson got the most valuable player trophy this year, but he's been Rookie of the Year, was Defensive Player of the Year previously, 6-time All-Star. That's who you're looking at there, and he's playing with a lot of intensity, yet the two offensive powerhouses, Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler, who of course played their college basketball in Houston together on that championship team, have been reunited. We have a timeout on the floor now, and you see the combination from those two. 49% of the 52 points, 49% of the total, 58% here tonight.
Bob, I've always felt that you win championships by having star players under pressure carry you when your role players are taken out of what they do.
Which happens in the playoffs.
Exactly, because as a coach, you say, who can we eliminate from the other team? Who can we take away? What points can we get out of the mix? And normally it's the guys who feed off the greatness of the stars. So when it comes to making big plays, the stars have to take more and more and more upon their own shoulders. We can see David Robinson still struggling. He's 5 for 13. Olajuwon has come to life, 13 for 24. He has 26 points.
Sean Elliott only 6 points, make it 7 in this game. Only 2 of 8 from the floor. Dennis Rodman is sitting down out of the game right now as they put J.R. Reed in to try to get some more offense down on the low block.
San Antonio trying to speed this game up into quick shots.
That's a quick shot. Akeem says, I went left, I went right, I drove the baseline. How about a backward reverse finger roll?
See, now he's matched up against Terry Cummings, and there's no way Cummings can play against him. He's guarding Cummings, and once again, Charles Jones is doing the work defensively against J.R. Reed.
Reed's open underneath and will lay it in. He was defended by Charles Jones on that play. 72-65. Again, to point out, it's only a 7-point Rockets lead. Olajuwon held by Cummings on the inbound pass. That's his first personal. 12 field goal attempts, 9 successfully for Akeem Olajuwon just in this third quarter as Chucky Brown comes in for Charles Jones.
Now see, Charles Jones is sitting down because they really don't need him on the floor right now because there is no David Robinson defense. You bring Chucky Brown in, who's a little bit quicker, got a livelier body to play against J.R. Reed.
Olajuwon with the double team finds Drexler for the drive, who can't find a handle. And it was off. The ball went off San Antonio. 12 on the shot clock. And Houston will inbound under their own basket as J.R. Reed sits down and Chuck Person gets in for the Spurs, trailing by 7.
They really need to shake loose Chuck Person. Maybe spot up, get him a shot. Rivers has hit some big shots. Willie Anderson. Their bench has been very productive for them tonight.
Looking for Olajuwon against Terry Cummings. There's the double team. Drexler, 2 to shoot. Cassell, that beat the buzzer. Mario Elie with the loose ball foul. Let's find out the situation with point guard Avery Johnson and his sore, I think it's right ankle. Kevin, what's going on?
Well, Spurs fans may be missing their great point guard. He has a heavily taped right ankle. He is not 100%. Avery Johnson on the bench. He's available to play, but he cannot go full tilt.
Thanks, Kevin. That happened very early in the ball game on a penetration move where he stepped on Pete Chilcutt's ankle.
And again, he's the little motor that runs this team. He's their emotional spark plug. He's their vocal guy. He gives them speed and quickness in the open floor, and without him, they've had a very difficult time finding any easy baskets. Everything has been probing in the half court. David Robinson misses him because he'll push the ball up the floor. Robinson comes in as the trailer. You drop it off to him, and Robinson gets some easy baskets. He's got none of those tonight.
That's the best way to defend those two players is to have them sit on the bench. 72-66 Rockets, under a minute to go, third quarter.
Remember now how you end quarters. Can the Spurs close this to maybe 2 in the 2 possessions, or can the Rockets push it up to 8 or 10? That's what they did in the first half.
8 on the shot clock. Quick double team to Olajuwon, and the foul. Doc Rivers got him.
Over the foul limit, so Olajuwon will shoot 2 free throws. There's 31.2 seconds to go, so the Rockets will get these 2 free throws, and there's a 7-second differential, so they should get 2 for 1. If they can get 4 points to maybe none for the Spurs here, this could be a little bit of a knockout and push them to a double-figure lead.
28 points. That's about the first thing Hakeem Olajuwon has failed at in this quarter. You look at our MVP center comparison, 18 points for Robinson, only 5 of 13.
And look at the shot attempts, 25 shots for Olajuwon. He and Drexler have attempted 37 shots. On the other hand, Robinson and Elliott only 21. So the Rockets have done a great job forcing other players to take shots in tonight's game.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Rivers is open for that 18-footer, and he dropped it. That's 12 points for Doc Rivers. He's given him an offensive boost off the bench. Ellie going to try to get something quickly. Is fouled on the drive by Willie Anderson.
Well, Mario Ellie had one thing on his mind there. I'm going to get to the basket. I'm going to force you to foul me. If not, I'm going to put the onus on the officials to call something through this contact. Doc Rivers has played great tonight. We really got to talk about him. He's supposed to be a defensive stopper. Tonight, he's hit some big jump shots to keep his team within 5. Doc Rivers, 12 points, 5 of 10 from the floor.
Mario Ellie at the line, and misses the free throw. He'll get another opportunity. We have 7.2 seconds remaining in the third quarter. It was 49-41 at the half. 7-point Houston lead.
Now, they love to run a little set here to get Chuck Person a 3-point shot at the end of this quarter. Let's see, with Avery Johnson not on the floor, if they can execute it.
Doc Rivers down with 5 seconds. There's Person in his face. Ellie has to lean in for the 3, and it doesn't go, although it almost did. Good call, Doug. That's what I suppose San Antonio or Houston knew what you knew, as they were right in the face of Chuck Person. Hakeem Olajuwon, 19 in the quarter, and the Spurs cut the 12-point lead during that quarter down to 6. Back at the Alamo Dome for the final 12 minutes. Rockets up by 6. As you look at the scoring by quarters, San Antonio building on their scoring. Houston staying pretty well even, but they've got that 6-point lead. An intense San Antonio bench. Let's take a look at this, and Doug, comment on this particularly. Watch Dave Cowens, the assistant.
Eyes before.
You have seen those
eyes before. When he was out on the court, no one more intense than Dave Cowens. And you know what? I think that was great, because what Dave does is he brings what his experience of a championship player is. Guys, throw out all the X's and O's. Let's talk about hard here for the last 12 minutes. Our season is resting on the brink right now. Do we want to make this a series, or do we want to go down quickly?
Let's see if it got through. A 6-point Rockets lead. Opening moments, fourth quarter from the Alamo Dome. Houston leading in the series 1-0, up 6 here. Willie Anderson spinning, missing. Foul is going to be on San Antonio's David Robinson. That's his 3rd.
Can David Robinson get himself going with Olajuwon sitting down? The luxury of Charles Jones. You can bring him in, you can rest Olajuwon. Now all the offense will go through Drexler in some way.
Dennis Rodman, who played only 14 minutes in the first half, not playing here in the most of the third quarter and at the beginning of the fourth. And the turnover from Houston, and San Antonio not sure what they're doing to inbound the ball here. Doc Rivers has to call Chuck Person back.
I tell you, if I'm Rudy T, I don't let Olajuwon sit very long. I want to keep this crowd out of the game. I let him buy some minutes if I can, but I want to maintain this lead. I do not want to give San Antonio any life.
Robinson in against Charles Jones and Cassell. Charles Jones just too short to stop, and old probably to stop David Robinson as Hakeem sits on the bench, and it is now a 4-point Houston lead. steal by Willie Anderson. It all starts with D, but he throws it away as Doc Rivers was looking down court. Anderson didn't find his eyes, and he didn't find the ball.
Again, when you're playing from behind, you get energized. You start trying to make plays maybe that aren't there. Great hustle that time by Willie Anderson. Just gives it back to him with the unforced turnover.
Drexler kicks it to Cassell to Ori on the drive. Robert Ori showing that fast slash to the basket.
Boy, he's been a real key to their offense tonight. He had 11 first half points.
Sean Elliott trying to penetrate. He finds Doc Rivers. This is the three. Cassell, it's 2-on-2.
Pull that back and use some clock. Let your big man rest. Keep this game slowed down for your team.
What Cassell did with 10:25 to go, and now he's going to penetrate, crossover, lay in. Cassell, what a beautiful move off the right wing. Bob Hill with play instructions. Houston back to an 8-point lead.
As long as he can keep it to 6-8, he'll allow Elijah to get some rest.
Elliott's the open man. Drexler stepped out of his way, and Elliott slashed to the hoop. Drexler bought the three-point fake.
Yes, he did. Now they're going to go through Drexler in the post. If he doesn't get it, he'll step out and isolate. If they double team, watch Charles Jones on the offensive boards. There's Drexler once again. That's a tough shot.
Rockets by 6. Crowd pleading for the Spurs to come back here. Anderson to Elliott.
Timeout.
That's a three! And just as that happened, you see Rudy T pointing to Akeem saying, now, get in there now.
Once it went below 6, we need you, Akeem.
He'll get in at the next dead ball opportunity. 10 on the shot clock, 78-75, Rockets by 3. Another bad shot.
Rockets need a timeout here, especially if the Spurs score.
Sean Elliott. Robinson kept it alive. Willie Anderson. Robinson with a follow. 1-point game, a 7-0. Spurs run. Timeout, Houston.
Sean Elliott with a big three-point shot in the corner. The minute that thing hits the net, Rudy T says, rescue me, Hakeem. I need you right now. Get in the game immediately. And then a Robinson, before Olajuwon can get into the game, gets a field goal and now a stick back, so he has 4 quick points. The crowd is back, and we have a 1-point game.
$36,000 cheering as we check our Dutch boy in the paint. Olajuwon went to the bench. Robinson with 2 quick field goals, and we have a 1-point game.
Robinson coming to life with 22 points, and he's done that in this series. In game 1, he had 12 fourth quarter points. They're going to need them all tonight, and the creativity of some of these people with the rotating hair of Dennis Rodman.
And maybe that's a little bit of the fashion influence of Dennis. Some mother's sons there with their exciting fashion attire. And the Rockets come back to take a 3-point lead.
Set play out of a timeout. Drexler looked like he was going to come off a screen. He ducked underneath. A great pass. Beautiful shot high up off the glass over Robinson.
Drexler has 21. Now David Robinson working down low. Stripped away. Doc Rivers is there to find it. Rivers with 14. What a job Glenn Doc Rivers has done off the bench tonight. That's exactly why San Antonio added him to their roster this year. Within a point. Ori had the chance, but he's going to take it to the hoop. How did he get that up? The follow, the block. Loose ball foul on Houston. On Robert Ori.
Boy, David Robinson has given him a great lift here. More importantly, he's really energized this team and his crowd. Watch this block by David Robinson. And then the loose ball foul on Ori. Can the Spurs finally take the lead here?
They're down 1. Into Robinson. Open man Person. And the Rifleman hits a rare three-pointer. He's been in a mega slump the entire playoffs, and that's the Rockets' first lead since they led 10-8. Bad pass, Olajuwon. Elliott. Person. Rebound, Drexler.
Now the Rockets have to slow this down. What's happened is the pace has gotten up and down. The score was 78-70. Since that point in time, they've outscored them 12-2.
This brought the crowd of 36,000 to their feet.
A person needed that, and so did the team. They've got to find a way to get Olajuwon the ball without three guys swarming on him. Right now, they cannot get him the ball. See if they can run the quick slip and roll. That's what they do. See, the creativity of a coach is you come down, they double team you, they take us out. Now I've got to move my guy around and find another way to get him the ball.
Tied at 82. Western Conference Finals. Houston stole the first game, 94-93. And the foul on the post. That's 3 on Olajuwon.
See, David Robinson really doesn't like to play with his back to the basket, but they're doing a good job of getting the ball deep, and he's delivering.
Houston has led most of the way through this game, but we're tied with 6:45 to go. In the first quarter, Hakeem Olajuwon, the dream, came out strong on this year's MVP, David Robinson. Olajuwon now with 30. Drexler in the second quarter was big. He now carries 21 points. Hakeem came back in the third quarter with 19 points in the quarter, including that move. And Chuck Person, as San Antonio leads an emotional comeback, hits it from the perimeter, and we're tied at 82. Rivers, pull-up jumper.
You know, Bob, I think it's very interesting. Bob Hill, in the time of crisis, has gone to his three wily veterans, Willie Anderson, Rivers, and Chuck Person, to go along with Sean Elliott and David Robinson, hoping that experience will prevail.
Good call, probably. We'll find out. 8 seconds on the shot clock. That shot by Drexler very flat. Robinson with the rebound. He has 11 in the game. Tied at 82. Open man Rivers. Unforced turnover as Elliott loses it out of bounds. 11 Houston turnovers, 9 for San Antonio in the game. Tied at 82. We have 6 minutes remaining.
Let's see if the Rockets go to the set where they lift three guys in isolation and go into Olajuwon, which is what they do, and give him that spin move on the baseline. They get the corner out of the way, so now he can go to that pet move of his.
32 points for the Dream. Olajuwon has hit his last 8. Robinson tries to answer to Rivers. Misses the 3. Kept alive by David. Pulled down by Ellie on the break. Horry.
Look at Robert Horry in the open.
Oh! Athletic ability bouncing in there for the lay-in on the reverse. And the Rockets go up by 4.
Boy, Doc Rivers so upset at himself. He said, I had a 3. I could have really gotten this crowd back into it. I missed. They run out against me. Got to be very careful not to fall in love with this three-point shot, though.
Anderson with the penetration and the dish to Robinson, which draws the foul on Clyde Drexler, his 4th.
Bob, remember we diagrammed when that corner was empty that he could make that spin move? Well, in the clutch, they do that. They empty that corner out where he has that room to operate. And then Horry, watch this move now. 6'10", athletic, finger roll, tremendous play.
Horry has 15 in this game. He had only 1 field goal in game number 1, Robert Horry. The other 5 points came from the free throw line, and his field goal was the one that won the game, 94-93.
Remember now the Spurs missed 7 free throws in the 4th quarter of game 1. They were 7 for 14. The Rockets were 6 for 6. Let's keep our eye on that free throw line.
Robinson missing one right there. 5 minutes to go in this game. Olajuwon's jump hook, no. Robinson kept it alive. Loose ball foul on the Spurs. It's on David Robinson. Let me make sure it's Robinson first of all. No, make it Willie Anderson. They signal number 40, not David Robinson. Olajuwon working against Robinson. Open man Ellie and Horry now for 3. Robert Horry with 18 in the game. He's become the third piece of the triangle for the Rockets here tonight. They're back up by 6.
Bob, I felt like in the first quarter, the way that the Spurs were defending, that Horry was going to have a lot of good shots. And exactly what has happened, he's burying these open shots. 9-1 run now for Houston.
Houston resident Minnesota quarterback and TNT reporter Warren Moon in attendance here tonight, along with a lot of other celebrities at the Alamo Dome, and it has been another beauty. San Antonio with that impassioned talk by Dave Cowens on the sideline, came back out here, threw some defense up, but once again, Houston seems to have withstood the Spurs.
The resiliency of a championship team, that they hang around. Remember I said their philosophy is almost, let us just hang around and we'll find a way.
Yeah.
And tonight it's Horry hitting the big shots. Still a lot of time left to be played. I think the Spurs have to be very careful not to fall in love with that perimeter shot. Keep David Robinson involved. Let him create your offense against Olajuwon.
4:31 to go in the game. Houston by 6. The veterans stay on the floor. There they go to Robinson. His pull-up jumper. He likes that shot.
That's his shot. He likes to face up. He had the left foot free. And when he has that left foot free, he's more inclined to drive it, step back and shoot the jump shot.
Rockets by 4. 36,000 in the Alamo Dome, hoping the Spurs can even this series, but they're down at the moment.
Here's the face-up now by Olajuwon.
Double team by Anderson. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Horry bails him out with another 3. For Robert Horry, that's 5 triples tonight.
Now this guy was a center in college at Alabama. What a beautiful shooting touch.
Doc Rivers tries to answer Horry with the rebound. 3:39 to go. 92-85 Houston.
That shot was too quick by Doc Rivers. They didn't need that 3. Pound it in. Let David Robinson get a couple more touches. Don't give up on him after one catch.
10 on the shot clock. Down to Olajuwon again. Single coverage by Robinson.
They're going to read the double team.
He's fouled on the lean-in as Willie Anderson drove down to get his hands up there, and Willie Anderson picks up the foul. That's 4 on Anderson.
See,
J.R. Reed's in for Person.
At what poison do you want? Do you want to double team Olajuwon and leave this open, another 3 by Horry? Or do you want to stay home on Olajuwon or stay home on these shooters and allow Olajuwon to work and now get to the free throw line? More importantly, they will be shooting free throws the rest of the game here at the 3:20 mark.
Horry 5 of 8 on threes tonight with 21 points. Olajuwon knocks down the free throw. Akeem did not have any free throw attempts in the first half. And look at Dennis Rodman, has not played since midway through the third quarter.
And if San Antonio loses this game, the first question Bob Hill will get after the game is, why didn't Rodman play after the 9:08-minute mark? That's why I said with his presence, he will always answer questions, whether it be good or bad.
Doc Rivers gives to Robinson, almost traveled. 10 on the shot clock, 3 minutes in the game. Inside to Doc Rivers from Willie Anderson. Nice pass by the 2 veterans. 2 guards working it down inside. Rockets by 7.
Rockets want to continue, use clock, get into Olajuwon, let him feel the double team, spot up the open 3-point shooter. It's been their success throughout.
Punched away by J.R. Reed. Elliott's punched away by Drexler. He came once again from nowhere.
Another one of those turnaround plays. Looked like Elliott was going to have a layup. These are points that you take away from a team. Elliott's got his eyes on the hoop. Look at him. And here comes Drexler in from behind.
Timeout, San Antonio. Clyde the Glide hungry for a ring. Houston by 7, 2:41 to go in this ball game. Another beauty from the Alamo Dome coming up right after this game on TNT inside the NBA with Tim Brando and the Goose, Jack Givens. And a look at Magic coach Brian Hill. Goose has some insight on that as he is the broadcaster for the Orlando Magic. And then tomorrow night, Indiana and Orlando at 8 Eastern time. Orlando leading that series 1-0. Here, 2:41 remaining.
Tell you what, you'd have to think right now the Spurs have to summon up all they've got in the last 241. They do not want to go down 0-2, losing both games at home, and have to win 4 of the last 5 games. 3 of them would be on the road.
Ellie stripped that ball away from Elliott. He gets it back and drives. The bounce doesn't go. Robinson there. Powering it inside, and the foul. Can pull the Spurs to within 4.
If the Rockets have a weakness, it's they're a small team, and you can hurt them on the offensive boards. Robinson with a great second effort. And the finish, the three-point play opportunity, got a chance to pull them within 4 points.
94-90, 2:24 to go. 10 on the shot clock for the Rockets. Ori, who has 21 and 5 threes.
Illegal.
One in the two-man. Illegal didn't get called.
Rivers was illegal. Very fortunate that they bailed out of that.
Drexler with 4 to shoot. Olajuwon wrestles the rebound away from Doc Rivers, and it's a new shot clock. 2 minutes to play.
Well, it's a big possession here.
Reed just arm wrestling down there with Hakeem Olajuwon, and they're going to call him for the foul. You see Doc Rivers hit the floor.
And then I think Doc Rivers got the call. Was it J.R. Reed that got the foul?
J.R. Reed.
J.R. Reed. I saw him go 2-5. I didn't know if it was 25 or 7.
Olajuwon to the free throw line. 36 points, 15 rebounds. Reed goes out. Chuck Person into the game for the San Antonio Spurs. Down now 5 with 1:55 to go.
Still a lot of time. You don't want to come down and launch up a 3 unless it's absolutely wide open and you have the guy that you want to shoot it there. Otherwise, work the ball inside, get something going. You know that the Rockets don't want to foul you and stop the clock.
Rockets by 6, 1:49 remaining. Off the curl, Anderson. Spin move inside to Robinson. He's fouled, but did not get it to go down for the three-point opportunity. Hakeem just picked up his 5th foul.
Well, I think the only way that will come into play is if this game goes into overtime. But again, Bob, field goal attempts tonight. Robinson has 17 field goal attempts, and Olajuwon 28. So you can see he has been absolutely the focal point of everything that they've done tonight. And Robinson, after a very slow start where he had 4 turnovers in the first half, has none in this half. Remember, he was 4 for 11. He's now 9 for 17.
Has 29.
So he's 5 for 6 in the second half. So I think he's really calmed down and playing in a much better rhythm in this half after getting that award and being a little bit tight from game 1 where he was 5 for 17.
His playoff average at 22, so this 29, a definite exceptional offensive performance by the Admiral. The Rockets, after those 2 free throws lead, is cut to 4. The I-10 battle, the Texas shootout, Spurs and Rockets, 96-92. The Rockets are leading with 1:44 to go. Hope you're enjoying our playoff coverage on TNT. 2 timeouts, 2 fulls and a 20 for Houston. Only 2 fulls for San Antonio. Both teams in the penalty for the final minute 44.
Well, I don't think there's going to be any suspense to what the Rockets are going to do. They're going to go through Olajuwon in the post, or they'll do something with a 2-man game. Drexler and Olajuwon. Ori, Ellie, Cassell will spot up behind that 3-point line. They'll try to use some clock and would love to be able to score after using about 20 seconds.
Sam Cassell handling the ball, going most of the way at the point here in place of Kenny Smith in the second half, the second-year player out of Florida State. Drexler to Olajuwon. 10 on the shot clock.
No double team that time. See if they come back and double.
They do, and he finds Drexler, who finds Cassell, who knocks down the 3. This team amazes me. 99-92, a 7-point lead with 1:20 to go.
And they used about 20 seconds. That was drawn up to perfection.
Robinson powers it inside. He has 31 now. No quit in the Admiral.
Now, if you're Houston, you just don't want to give gimme baskets away because it puts pressure on you to continue to score. There's still a minute 12. You're talking about 2 possessions can beat you, so you've got to continue to play the good defense.
Drexler comes back to help out. As you see, the full court pressure is intense. The open man down here is Ellie, and they'll pull it back out again. We're down to 1 minute to go in this game, and a 5-point Rockets lead.
If no double team, Elijah Wan will take it. If they double, he'll find the open guy on the perimeter.
Pull-up jumper.
Amazing, amazing the pressure performance that we've seen by these Houston Rockets. Remember my theory, Bob, first team to 100 normally wins. Rockets at 101.
Hakeem has 39. 53.1 seconds remain here at the Alamo Dome. Houston 101-94, and Sam Cassell with a shot clock running down knocks it down.
We talk about big shots. Look at the shot clock up at the top. It was at 4 seconds, so they used 20 seconds on the clock. Robinson now faces up, a nice up and under move. He scores. But once again, the Rockets come back. They cleared out for Elijah Wan. We're not going to double team. We don't want to give the 3. And Elijah Wan squares it up, and he drills it. Now, you know what? I was here
That's
last
a Spurs
year.
fan, by the way.
Yeah, and I was in Houston last year when they started going choke city against the Suns, losing the first 2, and the Rockets came back. So the Rockets know very well this series is far from being over, but I like their chances, the fact that they have won 2 on the road. More importantly, I think the Spurs right now are reeling. They just are searching where they can go.
Searching for a lineup even.
That's right. And you saw tonight some combinations with Willie Anderson, and there's a charge on Sean Elliott.
Offensive foul. Hakeem in 40 minutes tonight. Elijah Wan, who's going to come back into the game now, has 39 points, 4 assists, 16 rebounds, 2 block shots. It's been his night on the night that David Robinson received the league's most valuable trophy award. Trouble inbounding. Drexler is fouled by Doc Rivers with 44.6 to go, and Drexler will go to the free throw line, where he is 2 of 3 tonight. And Clyde Drexler has stepped it up just as he did in game 1, really, playing within the flow of the team, but yet coming up with the big plays when he needs to, along with Elijah Wan. And as you talked about at the beginning, Doug, it seems as if Houston comes up with the third part of the triangle. It could be Ellie, it could be Cassell, it could be almost anybody tonight, Robert Horry.
Well, that's how you become a championship team. You have to find someone to pick up the slack on a given night and hit big shots for you or make big plays. Let's talk about a guy like Charles Jones, who comes in and buys you 5 or 8, 10 minutes of defense against David Robinson. This could be last year's Earl Curitan, could be this year's Charles Jones. It's little pieces of the puzzle like that that bring championships.
Full timeout, 44.6 to go. Houston up by 9 with 44.6 seconds to go, and San Antonio's been without Dennis Rodman since there was 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Rodman with 5, the NBA's leading rebounder, 5 first-house rebounds, 3 quick ones in the third quarter, and has not played since. And the Spurs are down by 9. San Antonio with the most wins of anybody in the NBA. This is how the Spurs advanced in the finals, beating the Nuggets 3-0 and beating the Lakers 4-2. Now they're about to go down 0-2 in the Western Conference Finals. Chuck Person knocks down the 3. Now they're giving him 2. That's a 2.
Another guy that we need to talk about, Avery Johnson. They missed him tonight. Doc Rivers played well, but they lost one of their spark plugs, one of their main options, the guy who gave them early, quick offense. He was never the same after he twisted his ankle. And what you do is you force Doc Rivers to play heavy minutes now, and you don't get a chance to play Rivers and Avery Johnson together, so you lose a lot of your flexibility. Avery Johnson is a big part of this team, and then Vinny Del Negro does not become a factor. They come in with Willie Anderson, so what was well for them during the regular season, they have gone away from out of necessity here against the Houston Rockets. The lineups have caused them all kinds of problems.
You can see the points there, as we just showed you a moment ago, for Avery Johnson. During the playoffs, he's averaged over 13 points a game and is 4th in the NBA in playoff assists at nearly 9. So they're missing a lot of that. And as we pointed out before, Dennis Rodman usually plays heavy minutes, has not played many minutes in this ball game tonight. Right here, it's 103-96, not over yet, let us go on record to say, with 42.5 remaining, and the Spurs with chances to knock down some threes themselves. Coming up right after this game, we will be joining Tim Brando and Jack Goose Gibbons on Inside the NBA.
Well, let's look at the past MVPs. Michael Jordan, 91-92, the Bulls win it. Barkley in 93, they lose to the Bulls in the finals. Olajuwon wins it last year. And now David Robinson, it's his turn. Can he get his team to the finals? Right now, they are knocked on their heels. But again, a lot of time left in this playoff. We've already seen the Rockets come back from an 0-2 deficit this year. Beat the Phoenix Suns 4 of the last 5. We saw them down down to the 5th game against the Utah Jazz, barely be breathing and get a chance to win. So the Spurs can do it. But Bob, I think they have to summon up some inner strength here, and they've got to find some collective togetherness, because regardless of what they want to say, this is a team that was a little fragmented today by all that's gone on here this year, not just in game 1.
Exactly right. Delay of game warning against Houston. 103-96 Rockets. 42.5 remaining in the game. Houston wanting to burn some clock on a couple of possessions here. We'll have game 3 for you, by the way, in Houston on Friday night. Doug and I and our crew will be headed straight over there to the summit in Houston. Inbound to Ellie. They'll spread the floor.
Keep the ball.
Burn some clock.
That's a good call, Bob. Keep it moving. Don't get fouled. Make them chase you. That's going to be a foul off the ball. I think that's going to be 2 shots.
Exactly, on Sean Elliott as he ran into Sam Cassell.
It's going to be 1 shot and the ball out of bounds because he was off the ball. So I think it's going to be 1 shot, and then I think the Rockets will get the ball back on the sideline.
Yeah, Joe Crawford had to step in and make the correction as the signal came from Jack Nees that it would be a 2-shot, but 1 and the ball. And it's probably academic at this point. 103-96 Rockets with 35.4 to go. Bob Hill has tried everything with players tonight, trying combinations of J.R. Reed down low, of getting Willie Anderson and Doc Rivers in. He's played without Avery Johnson, who injured his right ankle early in the game and has not been able to use Dennis Rodman decided not to use Dennis Rodman since 9 minutes remained in the 3rd quarter.
Keep the ball moving once again. The clock is your ally right now. You don't need any more points.
And the foul on Anderson on Cassell with 29.7.
Bob, let me talk about that rule that just happened a while ago and why it occurs. The ball was given up, and Marioli was fouled off the ball. You say, why 1 free throw in the ball? Because what it does is it discourages you from running over and fouling a horrible free throw shooter who's away from the ball and benefiting by that. So what you do is if you're going to foul him, you're going to get 1 free throw and you're going to get the ball back. So it prevents that kind of action and that kind of activity.
That's the kind of thing the head coach of an NBA franchise needs to know, Doug. You know?
Now I just got to have some guys can make those free throws when they do that to us, see? What do you think the mood's going to be, Bob, in the San Antonio locker room with the San Antonio team? What do you think the press is going to have to say? Here's another steal by Drexler.
Well, I think you're right. The press is going to talk about Rodman not playing tonight. They're going to talk about the substitutions. They're going to talk about the lack of emotion. And it's going to be tough. As a matter of fact, it may be somewhat fortunate for the Spurs to get out of town for a few days.
I agree with you. I felt the stress tonight and the pressure as they got behind. They really got a little bit tense, and right now they are back deep into a serious corner. This Houston team gathering steam as they go along in the playoffs.
106-96. The Houston Rockets surprise the Spurs in the Alamo Dome. The San Antonio Spurs, the winningest team in the NBA, and now they go down 0-2. Doug, as we've talked so many times before, and this evening with this Houston team, Akeem Olajuwon is there every night. Clyde Drexler is there every night. And every night it seems like another player comes up to become the 3rd man in that powerful triangle. And tonight, the man who hit the only field goal he had in the game in Game 1 for the win came in tonight with 5 3-pointers and a superb performance, not just shooting, but also with some outstanding defensive plays. Our Budweiser player of the game is Robert Horry. Robert's joined us tableside now. And Robert, first of all, Doug and I talked about this. Akeem and Drexler are there. They've been there, and everybody's recognized them as all-stars for years after year after year. It seems like on your Houston team, there's always someone stepping in to become 1/3 of that triangle in a game. Tonight was your turn.
Yeah, I'm just thankful I was able to come out and play tonight. You know, got to thank the man above. And that's something we've been doing all year, just coming out. Somebody has to step up. Some nights it's Kenny, Mario, Sam, and I'm just thankful I could come out and step up tonight.
What's the story of the heart of this Houston Rockets team? You've become a real story in these NBA playoffs.
I think it's the addition of Clyde. You know, at first I was one of the people who said I hated the trade, but now, you know, with the addition of Clyde, he's been so much. It's been phenomenal for us. It's just amazing the things he can do. And we're just very appreciative of Clyde, and he's given us that drive to go out and play hard each and every night because he doesn't have a championship ring yet.
You know, Robert, what I think I've seen in this Houston team in the playoffs, too, is Clyde Drexler gives you the opportunity for Hakeem to rest a little bit on the offensive end, and he doesn't have to touch it on every possession. And then tonight in the game when they start double teaming, you stepped up and shot the ball. I think people forget that you were a center at Alabama in your career, right?
Yeah, people forget that. People always say I want to be a guard, but that's not true. You know, that's something that I have to thank Wimp for. He gave me the opportunity to shoot the 3-pointers when I had the chance, but, you know, I've been working on it all summer because last year a lot of people would step off me and double team dreams, so I had to work on my outside shots, and it's paying off.
All right, now last year you guys were in this position against the Phoenix Suns. You had been down 0-2. You lost 2 games at home. So I know that you're not going to take this team lightly going back to Houston on Friday night.
No, we're not going to take this team lightly. We're going to put it like this is the finals of the Western Conference. We're going to look at it like we did with the finals last year with Utah. We're going to go out and just try to get another win at home and just try to end this thing as soon as possible.
Robert, terrific performance, great clutch shooting, and I think the poise, and you guys are starting to get that championship feeling once again. You can just see it as you guys are playing.
Yeah, I think everybody's just ready for it. You know, people in the locker room, we're talking about 8 games away. We said, no, forget that. It's just one game at a time. You know, we really concentrate and taking one game at a time.
Thanks, Robert.
Robert Horry, our player of the game. Congratulations on the victory tonight. The Houston Rockets go up 2-0. Robert Horry with a lot of intangible plays tonight also to go along with his 5 3-pointers. A 10-point Rockets win. Back to Ernie Johnson in Atlanta.